Hello. I thought I would take a moment and do a video about a useful class called the Arrays class. Again, this isn't a class I'll test you on, but it is extremely useful, and I do recommend that some of you start to incorporate it into your work. So the Arrays class is a class that's written very much like the math class, and it has built-in methods that help us deal with array data. But the first thing we have to know is we have to import it. So we're going to import java.util.arrays. So if we highlight arrays and hit Control F1, we can take a look at the documentation about it. So here is the arrays class. A couple key ideas here is, remember, whenever you want to use a class, you have to identify where it's located. By default, Java imports all java.lang classes. But since this is in the java.utils class package, you need to actually include that import statement. So if we scroll down, a couple things to highlight. One is these are the list of all the methods summaries. So we have binary search, and we have copy of, equals, all sorts. But the really big idea I'd like to stress is, much like the math class, this is a static class. And what that means is that whenever I want to call this method, I have to use the name of the class. So let's see what we mean. We just build this project to make sure everything's building and running okay. Okay, we're good to go. Let me jump back in here. I'm going to make an array. And I'm going to make an array for int of integers, nums, and I'm just going to predefine some numbers. So 4, 6, 7, 9, 1, 3, 4, 6. Okay, so now we have an array. So previously we've learned that a way to output this array is I'd use a for loop. So I'd say for int I equals 0, I is less than nums.length I plus plus, which is the same as saying I is equal to I plus 1. And then I go system.out, print line, and then I can say nums at element I. So if we run this now, there's the data for my array. But this is quite a bit sometimes to write, and if I wanted to quickly output the information, I can actually use this arrays class. So let's comment this out, and let's look at another way to output the data. We can do the following. I can type in system.out.println, and then I'm going to access a method called toString. So I say arrays.toString. And let's just take a look in here and see where that is. We scroll down. ToString. And ToString returns a string representation of the contents of the specific array. And notice we have a whole bunch of versions, each taking a different type. This is an overloaded method to account for all the different types of arrays. So I need to pass it an array. So if I say system.out.println arrays toString, and I'm going to pass it my array nums. All I need is to write the word nums, because this program only needs the memory reference for that array. So now when I run this program, with that one simple line, I can very quickly output that array, and they nicely put the little square brackets at the end. But let's pretend I wanted to sort this data. That involves an algorithm which can get rather complicated, and it is a topic of study in later computer science courses. But for our purposes, I just want to sort it. Again, if we go into this method, we see array has a sort method. So if I go to array demo and I want to sort this, so I'm going to say I'm going to say arrays dot sort and then pass it the array nums. Now this is going to sort this array for me. So if I run this, there's a nice sorted version of my array. I recommend you experiment with this arrays class. There's a whole bunch of useful methods in here which will allow you to do all sorts of really cool things and useful things with arrays. Good luck.